Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. Stock market just a couple seconds from opening. Um, there's the opening bell. Uh, Interesting, if you've been like me, if you've been watching futures for the last, even just for the last 10 or 15 minutes, um, the Dow futures were up or flat. It's all relatively flat, but just moments ago, like literally 2 minutes ago, a minute and a half ago, it just all of a sudden went negative. Not by a lot. You're talking by 50 points or so, and now the markets are officially open, and we'll get a read here on where things are at. But I show right here at the open, the Dow down about 50. This is really interesting too. The NASDAQ down 81.77. I mean, it's bouncing around a little bit, but NASDAQ futures have been up all morning long. And so I'm kind of surprised by this. I know the Dow is being dragged down right now by Microsoft and Apple. They're both Microsoft looks to be the biggest loser right at the open. Maybe not now. It's changed just a little bit. Um, Salesforce. I'm trying to look at some of the heavier weighted stocks that are down a little bit. It's kind of an even split on the Dow, and even though it's down, it looks like about not quite half of the Dow components are trading a little bit to the upside. The rest of them are down. But we're managing individual trades, and what the indexes are doing is not really having a massive impact on what we've got going on right now. Um, I show I'm actually up a little bit in my cash portfolio that I do most of my spread trades in. I'm actually up just a tiny bit this morning, and that's in large part because Robinhood is dropping quickly and is going to very shortly, I think, be right at our target exit. They reported last night after the bell. Tonight, we'll get the reports from Google and Microsoft. Those are the other two trades that we opened this week. Disappointed that Nvidia is selling off a little bit, and Palantir. They were both up pre-market, not by a lot, but a little bit. And then in a minute here, I'll talk a little bit about Walmart. Um, but there's not I think the driver of these markets being down right now, the reason you see them trading down is all coming down to oil. I mentioned the other day, I think it was Monday. It might have been the end of last week, but I think it was Monday that I mentioned specifically that oil was up a little bit, but it was still trading uh, below $100, at least the WTI. It's over $100 now. It's up at 104 with this $4.25 a barrel move up today, and that's bad news for the markets. I mean, I think the price of oil being high has very much been baked in to everything that's going on. I think most people that are in the market, most people that aren't in the market, they're anxious to find or hear about some good resolution to this stuff going on in Iran. And it's just we're now in this phase where it's just dragging out. Patience is thin. It's like it's become the new normal. And if you're like me, and I don't assume everyone's like me, but I think a lot of people are. No one likes this new normal. No one is happy with this new normal. We want to see this thing come to a conclusion. We want to see it wrapped up and be over with. And it's starting to feel like this could drag on for a really long time. Now, I hope that's not the case. I hope I'm wrong. We've talked so much about it these last few weeks, these last 6 or 7 weeks, and I want it to be wrapped up and over. It's hard to guess when that might happen. Um, the latest is that the president was on his social media platform this morning, making more threats and making more demands. This has got to be done. This has got to be done right away, kind of thing. Uh, yeah, I agree. It's got to get done, but when? When is it going to get done? So That's causing the price of oil to stay up, and that is causing stocks to be down a little bit. Um, if there's some easing on this, if there's some news at any time today, tomorrow, that sort of changes this overall narrative, you could see the markets reverse pretty quickly. I don't know this early in the day. I don't know that we'll finish way to the downside today, but I'm not expecting a big update. The everything going on overseas and with the price of oil and the Strait of Hormuz has kind of overshadowed the fact that today is the last. This is Jerome Powell's last meeting. This is the last time he's going to, uh, make that announcement on interest rates. There is literally a 100% expectation that rates are going to stay the same. I was looking at this earlier this morning. I haven't looked at this as much lately because there's been this very broad assumption. I mean, the betting market is saying 100% chance there is no rate change coming in today's meeting, or no rate announcement. And I mean, I wouldn't buck that 100% trend right there. I'm fully on board with the idea that they're not going to raise rates or lower rates. I do think we got to pay attention to what Jerome Powell says today. There has been this very tenuous, and that maybe is putting it mildly. There's been this hate relationship between him and Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been very vocal about his displeasure with Jerome Powell, and how slow he has been on the moves that he has made. I think some of the criticism is deserved, but I don't like some of the rhetoric. I'm not a fan of that. Um, Anyone who's listened to me for any amount of time knows that I am generally a fan of Donald Trump's policies, but I oftentimes do not love the way he goes about things. And I don't like the rhetoric, and I don't think it's been good for the markets. I don't think it's been good for the situation specifically with him and Jerome Powell. But this is Powell's last meeting. It looks like Kevin Warsh is going to get nominated. It's just a matter of when and how, what kind of drama will play out with that. But it certainly looks like he is going to get successfully confirmed, and it'll be fun and interesting to see what Jerome Powell does after that. Whether he decides he wants to stay on as a Fed member of the board. It's traditional that when Fed govs have their term end and they're not nominated for a new term, that they step down completely. I could see Jerome Powell just trying to tweak Trump a little bit and not doing that. I'm not hoping for that, but it might be kind of fun to see how that drama plays out. Okay, so let's talk about a few of our trades. Let's jump into these triple play trades that we have open. Robinhood, they are selling off down 12% right now. Stock trading well below the strike price of our short put, meaning that the bear put side of our trade is completely in the money. I've got a limit order set to get out at 198. The mid price is jumping around between 188 and 195. I would take 195 in a heartbeat. I think that was our original target. Robinhood is selling off enough that it's really tempting to get out with a little bit more. But be a little bit cautious on this one. Don't be greedy. You've seen recently how quickly things can change, how quickly something can reverse directions. I'm not expecting that with Robinhood. I'm going to play around with limit orders today, and if I can get out at 198, great. But I'll be honest with you, if I can get out at 195 or 196, I'll take it and not mess around with that possibility that something could happen that we that we don't want to have happen. I don't expect a reversal. I didn't dive into the report on Robinhood, so I'm not aware of all the numbers exactly where they're at. I believe I saw in a headline that they maybe we can bring it up here real quick. I believe I saw in a headline that they beat revenue, but they didn't guide well, or maybe beat on revenue but missed on profit. Uh, Price target has been lowered by a couple of people. That happened overnight. Um, I was looking for the actual report that said what their numbers were. Falls during earnings call after second straight revenue miss. So it was revenue that they missed on. Um, and that's what's got them down pretty strong this morning. So good for our trade, not good for Robinhood, obviously, but good for our trade. So we'll take it. And like I said, I just saw the mid price go to 198. I saw it go to 201 and 196. Like I said, I'm playing around with um, playing around a little bit with my exit order. I'd like to be out of this trade today if at all possible, but as long as they're not reversing sharply tomorrow, we get closer to the end of the week, the more those options have to be priced closer to the spread. On a really good note, we've got Marvell moving up nicely this morning. Our open Marvell trade, which is one of our main spread trades, I gotta believe that one is going to be at target profit very soon. The options are set to expire. This is the 135, 140 in the money bull call spread. The stock's now trading at 156, up almost $4 a share this morning. I'm not sure what's driving it up this morning, other than it's had a couple of days of sell-off that I think were somewhat unjustified. I think some of it was profit taking. 3 days in a row it was coming down, but it never got horribly close to where our short call was. So we're in good shape on that. I think we should be able to get out of this one somewhat easily today or tomorrow. Uh, I've got my limit order on Marvell set at 495. I admittedly am being a little bit greedy on that. I think our original target when we set that one up, I think was at 490, maybe 492. I'd have to go back and look. I'm not remembering off the top of my head. Somebody might know, but we should get out of that one easily. And then, like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed that NVIDIA is down today. We'll see if that doesn't reverse a little bit, but they're struggling today, down a little bit. And Walmart is down. I'm frustrated with Walmart. I really thought when Walmart broke out of the range it was stuck in, it felt like it was going to continue up and come up here and maybe test this 134, 135. And now we're looking at the fourth day in a row that Walmart may be trading down. Or I think yesterday Walmart actually ended dead flat. They were down, they were up for a while, and then I think they finished the day exactly the same as they were the day before. But down again today, and I'm really hopeful that we get a bounce off this. I mean, look, this is not the worst thing. You've got this kind of bouncing now of the 5-day moving average off the 20-day moving average. And if we get that again, we might be in really good shape by the end of next week. The short option that we have, the short call that we have should expire worthless at the end of this week, unless there's a big bounce before that. And then hopefully the long call, which is already in the money, although it may have come out of the money just in the last day. Matt, I'll circle back to Google and Microsoft for you in just a second. Matt just typed a note and said he jumped on late and didn't hear what we had to say. But I haven't got to those yet, so you're okay on that. Anyways, just to finish up with Walmart, I still think we're going to be okay on Walmart. I'm not going to make an adjustment today. That could certainly change tomorrow. But just in what Matt's asking about with Google and Microsoft. So Microsoft is trading kind of in that sweet spot where the price of the stock right now is in between our two long options. And we don't have expiration on this until Monday. Remember, we chose kind of those new middle of the week or early in the week options and chose a Monday expiration. So Microsoft reports after the bell. I would be more concerned and maybe thinking about an early exit on Microsoft. I'm up 2.5% on it right now. I would consider an early exit if the call options were both in the money, or if the put options were both in the money, even if it meant getting out with a small percent. But the trading day before earnings being in that middle range between the two long option strike prices is kind of where we want to be. So I'm leaving Microsoft alone. Google, I think, is yeah, Google is the same. Being down a little bit today puts them in between the 340 long put and the 350 long call. So I actually like that both of these are trading right in that what I would call the sweet spot. That's the exact spot we don't want them to be in after the earnings report. We want to make sure, after the earnings report that they're moving well outside of that little channel that we created between 340 and 350. And I think both of them will do that. I don't think there's going to be anything really to worry about with Google. It looks like the market sell-off is accelerating a little bit. The Dow is now down 271. Um, I'm going to look real quick on another screen. I'm not sure what Dow components. You've got Goldman Sachs is down about 2%, and they are the heaviest weighted stock in the Dow. So Goldman is certainly having a big drag. Boeing is kind of middleweight. Um, Microsoft is down 1% and 1/3. So you got a handful of the big hitters in the Dow that are trailing off today, and that's largely, I think, why you're getting the Dow down as much as it is. I only see maybe 7 Dow components that are trading up today. So we'll see if there's any reversal on that, any turnaround. But I think it's going to take. I think for a reversal today, you're going to have to get some positive development go on in the Iran situation and some news about that, or I think it's unlikely that we get a reversal in this market today. And keep in mind, we've had some of this movement yesterday and today is just coming off a massive blockbuster week last week on the three major indexes. For them to give back, I guess last week and a half or 2 weeks, for them to give back a little bit or flatten a little bit shouldn't be a big shock to anybody. The NASDAQ and the S&P 500 both hit new all-time highs several times over the last couple of weeks. So to flatten out a little bit, if there was no news at all going on, you could still make a reasonable argument that this market flattening is just everyone taking a little bit of a breather after the massive run up we had over the previous couple of weeks. So I wouldn't read too much into it. All right, that's all I've got for today. So I'm going to wrap up right there. Everybody have a good rest of your Wednesday. I'll be back on live again tomorrow morning, right at the open of the market. Thank you for those of you that joined us live. Always appreciate that. And we'll see everybody back here tomorrow. Thanks. Bye bye.